Welcome back to the channel. Donald Trump and Zelensky met. I was going to do one about Donald Trump and Putin, but that meeting was trash. Then nothing happened. It was just a glaze fest. Like Donald Trump was getting it big, deep in his mouth with Putin dick, and Putin was just liking it. I'm not gonna lie. If we thought anybody was little bro in this situation, it's definitely Donald Trump. With that said, Zelensky, Donald Trump. Let's see how this meeting goes. I'm also going to pull up the fact checking thing to see what they say as well in regards to this conversation afterwards. So if you guys want to stick tuned to some fact checking, you already know. With that said, like and subscribe. Try to get 1,000 subs. You feel me?
To have the president of Ukraine with us. We've had a lot of good discussions, a lot of good talks, and I think progress is being made, very, very substantial progress in many ways. We had a good meeting, as you know, just a short while ago with the president of Russia, and I think there's a possibility that something could come out of it, and today's meeting is very important. We have, I guess, the seven very powerful leaders from Europe, and we're going to be meeting with them right after this meeting, and thank you very much for being here.
Thanks so much, Mr. President. If I can, first of all, thank you for invitation and thank you very much for your efforts, personal efforts to stop killings and stop this war. Thank you. And using this opportunity, many thanks to your wife, First Lady of the United States. She sent a letter to Putin about our children, adopted children, and my wife, she, First Lady of Ukraine, she gave the letter. It's not to you, to your wife.
Oh, I want it.
Yeah. So we're saying sensitive topic, yeah, please. And thanks to our partners and that you supported this format that after our meeting we can have leaders who are around us, the UK, France, Germany, Italy, Finland, EU, NATO, I mean all partners around Ukraine supporting us. Thanks to them and thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you very much for being here.
When you do have to realize when you're in Zelensky's situation that when you're dealing with a egoist that cares about his own self-image and his own assertion of power, you got to play that ego. That's what Putin did. I mean, he said the statement that if you were president, this war wouldn't have happened. Now, everybody with common sense and doesn't have cult MAGA brain realizes that's a nonsense statement. Because the only way a war would have been prevented is if Donald Trump allowed Putin to take Ukraine. If Donald Trump did not support Ukraine with weapons, ammunition, and resources. That was the only way this war wasn't going to happen. Putin did this because he wanted Ukraine territory. So if we're talking about a situation where a president who's friendly with Putin and has been friendly with Putin this entire time, the only way you could say the war wouldn't happen is if he capitulated to his big daddy Putin. So that's something to keep in mind. You got to stroke Donald Trump's ego. You got to make him feel good so he puts his guard down and he does exactly what you want. We'll see how this plays out, though. I'm sure Zelensky knows that at this point. He's not dealing with a grown man.
Trump.
Do you think it's fair?
Yes, Peter, go ahead.
Thank you, President Trump. So, President Zelensky, you say in the post on X today, Russia must end this war, which it itself started. President Trump, you say President Zelensky of Ukraine can end the war with Russia almost immediately if he wants to, which is.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think we're going to have a meeting. I think if everything works out well today, we'll have a trilat. And I think there will be a reasonable chance of ending the war when we do that.
And, is this the end of the road for American support for Ukraine? Is today's meeting deal?
Didn't really answer the question. I will say this, that there is an expected meeting to happen or a proposed meeting to happen between Putin and some of the European leaders. The fact that all of this is kind of, saying that it's happening behind closed doors is a nonsense statement, to be honest. I wouldn't even say that. Of course, this is going to be happening behind closed doors. But the fact that Donald Trump and Putin, after their meeting, never disclose what the deal is should say a lot at that point.
Or no deal?
I can never say that. It's never the end of the road. People are being killed.
Deal or is this the end of the road for American support for Ukraine? Is today's meeting deal or no deal?
I can never say that. It's never the end of the road. People are being killed, and we want to stop that.
So you can't say whether or not you're going to support Ukraine. That's just weird to me. That's just weird to me. You can't say whether or not you're going to stop supporting Ukraine. We know why. When there's an obvious wrongful actor in this situation, and you give him any level of credence in this conflict, it shows a lot in terms of his moral standard. But everybody who has common sense knew that Donald Trump is a Putin show. Everybody knew this.
So I would not say it's the end of the road. No, I think we have a good chance of doing it. It's been almost 4 years now that a lot of people were killed last week. A lot of people last week. I mean, millions of people killed, but a lot of people last week for whatever reason. A big number, a lot of soldiers, on both sides. And I know the president, I know myself, and I believe Vladimir Putin wants to see it ended.
And as you met with Putin on Friday, today you've got President Zelensky here. As you listen to Russia and Ukraine, which side has the better cards?
Well, I don't want to say that. I'm just here to be. Look, this isn't my war. This is Joe Biden's war. He's the one that had a lot to do.
I hate this man so, like, my hatred for this man. It's not even like a Joe Biden thing. It's the constant deflection. What does Joe Biden have to do with what you're talking about right now? This man, he dreams about Joe Biden.
With this happening, and we want to get it ended, and we want it to end good for everybody. We want it to end good. The people of Ukraine have suffered incredibly.
And to that point, President Zelensky, are you prepared to keep sending Ukrainian troops to their deaths for another couple of years, or are you going to agree to redraw the maps?
Thank you for your question. So, first of all, we live.
What kind of question was that? He asked the question basically. He framed it like a little bitch for the Russian cause, saying that, oh, are you gonna send Ukrainians to their death, or are you just gonna redraw maps? Like, who cares if you redraw maps? That's kind of how he framed it, right? Let's be very clear. The real question is, are you going to allow Russia to take your territory? Are you going to allow him to take your territory and take Ukrainian land? Are you going to allow that to happen? Or are you just going to keep on fighting against them? You should just allow that to happen. That's the energy. That's the intent behind that question. I'm very curious to see how Zelensky answers it, though.
Under each day attacks, that there have been a lot of attacks and a lot of wounded people, and the child was that small bomb, 1 year and a half. So we need to stop this war, to stop Russia, and we need support American and European partners, and we will do our best for this. So, and I think we show that we are strong people, and we supported the idea of the United States, personally of President Trump, to stop this war, to make a diplomatic way of finishing this war, and we are ready for trilateral, as President said. This is a good signal about trilateral. I think this is very good. Thank you.
Mr. President.
I think that's a fair way to answer the question. When he framed that question to make it seem like Zelensky wants to send people to their deaths, so he focused on the idea that we have strong people, but we're open to diplomacy. Good reach around, good political answer. I think the intent is clear to some people at the very least, but crazy way to frame a question.
If the peace deal will be achieved, are you going to be willing to send American peacekeepers to Ukraine?
But we're going to work with Ukraine. We're going to work with everybody, and we're going to make sure that if there's peace, the peace is going to stay long term. This is very long term. We're not talking about a 2-year peace and then we end up in this mess again. We're going to make sure that everything's good. We'll work with Russia. We're going to work with Ukraine, and we're going to make sure it works. And I think if we can get to peace, it's going to work. I have no doubt about it.
That's a strong statement. That's a strong statement. He said it very clearly. He wants to ensure lasting peace. So that would mean, in its entirety, that there's a long-term negotiation or plan or proposal of Ukraine. I don't know if Ukraine's going to join NATO, but gets complete NATO protection in like an off-branch, offshoot way. because that's the only way this could really happen, because obviously there was a deal in place the first time, and because of like some shenanigans, of course, Russia eventually did not care and did what they wanted, which is why one of the reasons why America helped in the first place. So, and one of the reasons why Ukraine never joined NATO. So we'll see how this plays out, but that's a strong statement saying that you want lasting peace. We'll see. We'll see how the deal is actually put in place.
Your team has talked about security guarantees. Could that involve U.S. troops? Would you roll that out in the future?
Security guarantees,
We'll
there you go.
let you know that maybe later today. We're meeting with 7 great leaders of great countries also, and we'll be talking about that. They'll all be involved, but there'll be a lot of help when it comes to security. There's going to be a lot of help. It's going to be good. They are first line of defense because they're there. They're Europe, but we're going to help them out also. We'll be involved.
Okay, fair answer.
That the war will not end without addressing the root causes of this war. Have you had an understanding what are the root causes of this war?
Well, look, if the war is going to end, when it ends, I can't tell you, but the war is going to end, and this gentleman wants it to end, and Vladimir.
An understanding what are the root causes of this war? Have you had an understanding what are the root causes of this war?
Well, look, if the war is going to end, when it ends, I can't tell you, but the war is going to end. And
so the
this
answer is
gentleman
no.
wants
He
it
has
to
no
end,
idea
and
what the root causes
Vladimir
are.
Putin wants it to end. I think the whole world is tired of it, and we're going to get it ended. It was, I've done 6 wars. I've ended 6 wars, and I thought this maybe would be the easiest one, and it's not the easiest.
Yapping about the 6 wars. I've given him credit, like I have to, just to be at the very least consistent with the Armenian one in particular. India and Pakistan one, I'm not so sure, but those are the only 2. Is like, okay, sure, you can get some credit.
This one, it's a tough one. A lot of reasons for it, and they'll be talking about it for a long time. But they'll be talking about the others. Look, India, Pakistan. We're talking about the big places. When you look at, you just take a look at some of these wars. You go to Africa and take a look at that. Rwanda and the Congo, Republic of the Congo. That's been going on for 31 years. And so we've done a total of 6, and we really have 6, not including the fact that we obliterated, and it turned out to be a total obliteration. The nuclear, as you said,
It was not a total
capability of Iran.
It was not a total obliteration of Iran. Let me look into this Rwanda one.
And this one, I think we're going to get it solved also. I feel confident we're going to get it solved.
Like special envoy report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can you tell us about your conversations with European leaders and what they need to see to support an end to the war?
Yeah, well, we're going to be meeting with a great representative group and 7 very powerful, very big countries and great people, all friends of mine and friends of yours. And we're going to have some suggestions made. They want to see peace. They would like to see peace.
President Trump, where did Russia? You said last
In the
night.
red.
President Trump, do you think it's fair to for you?
All right. CF.org. What is CF? What is this place? Missouri appointed code due to turnover Epstein sentence. Oh, this is like a MAGA thing. Let me let the video continue because this source looks biased.
And for Russia to achieve a lasting and durable peace, if Ukraine sees its territories that Russia hasn't yet conquered, do you think it's a fair peace for Ukraine?
We're going to have a lasting peace. Just to answer the first part of your question, we're going to have a lasting peace. I hope it's going to be immediately. I hope it doesn't have to go on. And I think people in the whole world is going to be very happy when that's announced.
Just
Yes,
Mr.
President, you posted on social media, Mr. President, a very touching letter from the First Lady, and the letter was hand-delivered to President Putin, and it calls for an end to the war, essentially, because of the children and the children's future. Why did the First Lady feel that letter was necessary? Was it because she believes that Mr. Putin is the aggressor in the war? Is a similar letter being hand-delivered to President Zelensky?
So the First Lady felt very strongly. She's watched the same thing that you watch and that I watch. I see things that you don't get to see, and it's horrible. But when she's got a great love of children, she has a wonderful son that she loves, probably more than anybody, including me. I hate to say it, but she loves her son. She loves children, and she hates to see something like this happening. And that goes for other wars too. I mean, she sees the heartbreak, the parents, the funerals that you see on television. Always funerals. We want to see something other than funerals. No, she felt It was a beautiful letter. It was very well received by him. And she did ask me to say, she would love to see this end. She would love to see it end. And she says it very openly, very proudly, and with great sorrow because so many people have been killed.
Last week,
Ryan, go ahead, Brian.
Yes, sir, I've got a question.
That was a non-answer, so I didn't really need a comment about that. I was looking for stuff regarding the peace deal, and for the most part, there's no details about it. Like there's this article talking about it. He says that he ended it. He says he brought the two nations over. People are talking about how there's more information needed. And neither government. And I mean, another way to play into Donald Trump's ego, give him all the credit, regardless of his involvement. I wish I could have more faith. Like all the people, all the MAGA people who had no actually reason to lose so much faith into the government, thinking that election was stolen, all that stuff. I actually have reasons to think that Donald Trump is consistently lying to make himself feel better. Like we talked about that so many times on this channel. So that's why I always have to take everything he says with a grain of salt. At the very least for the Armenian one, like those countries named specific things he did and in regards to getting that deal done. Like they're working on creating some type of like pipeline, I believe. And I was like, okay, sure. I know obviously the people who did most of the work was most likely his people because Donald Trump's a fucking moron, but he's the president, so he gets credit. That's just how it works. Can't really be mad at that. I'm going to keep on looking for information, though.
Zelensky, you look fabulous in that suit.
I said the same.
Yeah, you look good.
I said the same thing.
Yeah.
You said I said I wanted to attack you last time. See, that was, I remember.
Yeah, I apologize to you. You look wonderful. No,
Shut the fuck up, cuck. Man, if I didn't have to do things for the best interest of my country, I'd be like, I don't give a fuck what you say, pussy. That's what I would say. I think that was the same person who accepted vodka from a Russian journalist. Interesting.
first question for you, President Zelensky.
In the same suit. You see, I changed your
Maybe yours is much better. Real quickly, upon peace, God willing to get peace, are you open to holding an election in your country?
Yes, of course. We are open for election, yes. We have to do safety circumstances. And a little bit, we need to work in the parliament because during the war you can't have elections, but we can do security. We need, we need a truth, yes, everywhere, in the battlefield, in the sky, in the sea, yeah, to make possible for people to do democratic, open, legal elections.
So you say
we're ready.
during the war, you can't have elections. So let me just say 3.5 years from now. So you mean if we happen to be in a war with somebody, no more elections? Oh, that's good. I wonder what the fake
You like
news
this
is.
idea?
Yeah.
No.
Speaking of news, I got a question for you. This sounds insane.
That is an insane thing to say. Like, I've never seen a president of the United States of America joke this many times about running a third term. Now, it'd be one thing if he said it like once and then just dismissed it entirely. He has brought this joke up so many times. At some point, once you say something consistently, it stops being like, is he really joking? Or is he just testing the water to see how much people would be up for it? Because I know MAGA are just a bunch of fucking smooth brains. And they go like, yeah, of course I want Donald Trump as a third term. This joke, I don't know, man. He's saying it way too often. He said it regarding the Christian stuff. He said it here. I think he tweeted something about it. Like, he's saying it way too often, boy. It would be kind of crazy to think that he would start a war to stay president. I'm just saying that would be kind of crazy.
For me even to ask this, but do you think the American media really doesn't even want a peace deal because they seem they've been so critical of you every step of the way as you lead the charge for peace?
It's an amazing phenomenon. I said that if in the settlement you got Moscow.
Did you hear that dick in the back of that boy's throat? Oh, it's Donald Trump's dick, so it's probably like on the top of his mouth. That's how far it kind of goes in. We saw a accurate depiction on South Park. Shout out South Park. Jesus fuck. Do you watch while Donald Trump bangs your wife? Jesus cuck.
St. Petersburg and thousands of miles around them, they would say I made a bad deal. The level of hatred and animosity is incredible. Not with all. I mean, we have great people up here. We also have terrible people up there that I think are told what to say. But, you know, in solving all of these wars.
Sounds like MAGA reporters told what to say. Just like that fucking dog shit ass question. You think the mainstream media actually wants an end to this war? Because you're doing such a great job, Daddy. You're doing a great job, Daddy Trump.
They don't even write about it. You know, I saw major wars. I saw wars that have been going on for 31, 35, and 37, and a couple of quicker ones. One that was going to go into a full-blown deal very quickly. You know what the one I'm talking about was a big one. But they don't even write about that. No matter what I do, no matter what, and you know, this is not anything to do with you. It's probably to your advantage in a certain way. But no matter what I do, no matter what deal I make, from my standpoint, you'll come out good. Maybe President Putin will come out good. But they'll say, Trump was absolutely horrible. It's just it. And I've lived with that for a long time. I've lived with it since just before the first election.
Boo fucking who, bitch? I don't give a fuck. Stop doing terrible shit and people won't constantly criticize you. Boo fucking who? It's like Diddy complaining about, oh, this is literally the perfect example. It's like the Diddy lawyer going like, oh, we're just going after a black man. This is just going after a black man, right? This is just a crusade because he's black. This is what Donald Trump is doing. He's one like a little pussy, a little bitch. Boo fucking who? Who cares? I do terrible stuff. I do some good stuff too. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut up.
I used to get great publicity. Now I get the worst publicity anyone's ever gotten in office, but I won in a landslide. So the people
You're a terrible
they're the only ones that
president.
count ultimately. But I've also had great reporters. I've had journalists that are very good.
Yeah, Fox
but
News.
it's very sad when you do the right thing. As an example, they said, because of the fact that Vladimir Putin came to American soil, this was a tremendous defeat for Donald Trump. No, it was really wonderful that he did it. It was a hard thing for him to do, to be honest with you. It was the opposite of what they said, but they said it. Now, if he didn't come, they'd say that was also bad for Trump. Yeah, there's no way. And there's just a great dishonesty of the press. And I think that's why it's lost its credibility. You know, its credibility is at an all-time low. We have a thing going on right now in D.C. We went from the most unsafe place anywhere to a place that now people, friends are calling me up, Democrats are calling me up, and they're saying, sir, I want to thank you. My wife and I went out.
Let's just be very clear. Crime rate has been going down the last 2 years in Washington, D.C. It did not need the National Guard. Oh, my God. Give me a break.
Did dinner last night for the. You've allowed that to happen a year ago? He said, no way. No way. He said, what you've done is incredible. And I think the people realize it. The press says, he's a dictator. He's trying to take over. No, all I want is security for our people. But people that haven't gone out to dinner in Washington, D.C. in 2 years are going out to dinner. And the restaurants the last 2 days were busier than they've been in a long time. Thank you.
Yeah, rambling.
Yesterday with MTG. If you can walk around with DC with MTG and not be attacked, the city is safe.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last week, you warned of what you called severe consequences if a 30-day ceasefire or any type of ceasefire were not agreed to by Russia. Will there be severe consequences? Does that change because of
I don't think you need a ceasefire. You know, if you look at the 6 deals that I settled this year, they were all at war. I didn't do any ceasefires. And I know that it might be good to have.
That's not true.
But I can also understand. I didn't do any ceasefire.
Wait. Did you answer the
You know, if you look at the 6 deals that I settled.
If a 30-day ceasefire or any type. Last week, you warned of what you called severe consequences if a 30-day ceasefire or any type of ceasefire were not agreed to by Russia. Will there be severe consequences? Does that change because
I don't think you need a ceasefire. You know, if you look at the 6 deals that I settled this year, they were all at war. I didn't do any ceasefires.
Bitch, he's quoting your statement. He said you said that you were going to do a ceasefire. And now you're saying you like I said, he just be chatting, he be yapping, he be rambling, he be talking and shit comes out. Come on.
And I know that it might be good to have, but I can also understand strategically why, well, one country or the other wouldn't want it. You have a ceasefire and they rebuild and rebuild and rebuild, and maybe they don't want that. But if you look at the 6 deals that we made peace, and
Sounds like exactly what Putin did. Oh, he's really gonna keep on pushing this 6 war thing. We'll debunk it after this meeting.
long-term, long-running wars, I didn't do any ceasefires. Would I like the concept, I like the concept of a ceasefire for one reason, because you'd stop killing people immediately, as opposed to in 2 weeks or 1 week or whatever it takes. But we can work a deal where we're working on a peace deal while they're fighting. They have to fight. I wish they could stop. I'd like them to stop. But strategically, that could be a disadvantage for one side or the other. But all of these deals I made.
Sounds like
without
what
even
happened
mention of the
last
words
time you tried to do a ceasefire deal. And
Are you
Putin just
going to explain
railroaded.
the decision to offer Ukraine Article 5-like security guarantees, but stop short of pushing for their full membership?
Yeah, well, we haven't done anything on that yet. If you look back and you go back long before President Putin, it was always a statement that they would never allow Ukraine into NATO. So that was a statement that was made, but we haven't discussed any of that yet. We're going to be discussing it today, but we will give them very good protection, very good security. That's part of it. And
You
the people
haven't
that are waiting for
discussed
us,
that? What?
they are, I think they're very like-minded.
You haven't discussed fucking Ukraine joining NATO? How have you not discussed that? That's like one of the biggest things, one of the biggest parts about this whole conversation.
They want to help out also.
Thank you, President. Thank you, President Trump.
The
The United States has already given hundreds of billions of dollars to this war effort in Ukraine.
Right.
At best, it is a stalemate, and the killing continues. So, President Trump, how much more is the United States willing to give Ukraine? And President Zelensky, how much more do you want?
Well, I'll start off just by saying we're not giving anything now. We're selling weapons. This is something before, I guess the number is well over $300 billion. That was under Joe Biden.
Let's be very clear. This is the same motherfucker that keeps on talking about, oh, people are dying. Oh, people are dying. But like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to sell you weapons. I don't care about funding you guys. I don't care about whether or not you can protect yourselves. We're going to make money off of you. I don't really care about the lives dying as long as I can make money off of you. That's the real jazz. So everything, all this people dying shit, the Republicans don't give two shits about.
Biden, a corrupt politician, not a smart man, never was. By the way, go back 40 years. He was not a smart man 40 years ago either. But now he's in particular bad. This was done by a corrupt administration that shouldn't have been in. And frankly, if the right results of the election were given, if I were president, this war would have never taken place. And he would have been very happy.
Yeah,
because he would have liked to have seen. I mean, they went through hell. He went through hell. This war would have never happened. And the people that were killed, a couple of million people, a lot of people with soldiers and everything.
Now Trump is putting words in Zelensky's. Oh, now Zelensky has to agree with the sentiment that, yeah, this war wouldn't have happened. Oh, man, they better not ask that question of Zelensky. He's going to have to capitulate to Donald Trump's fragile fucking ego. Oh, man, that's so tough.
Everything else. And the people that have been displaced and forced into other areas and other countries because of what's happened, none of that would have happened. And I'm just saying that he was a horrible president, whether it was the borders or this. He was just a horrible, corrupt president.
Mr.
President, you want to answer?
I can. Thanks so much. So first of all, we have possibility now to buy weapons from the United States. We're thankful for this program and this opportunity. We're thankful for Europe. They pay for this. And through NATO program for Pearl and etc. We have some programs where we can have some money
to capitulate so
this.
much.
And this is a part, I think. It's not a part for the war and to defend us. It also will be a part for security guarantees, to strengthen our army, to rearm Ukrainian army. This is very, very important. And it depends how much money we need to rearm. For example, the question of air defense, we spoke about it with President Trump, and I'm happy that we have now bilateral decisions and we work on it with production, American production. Nobody in Europe has so many air defense like Patriots, for example. We need it very much, and this is also about defending.
I think the good news, we make the best military equipment in the world by far. You mentioned the Patriots. How good are they?
Systems.
We have systems, they're literally 100% foolproof. And it's really like shooting two bullets, two bullets hitting each other in the air in a space like this. The chance is 100%. It's 99 to 100%. So we sell the equipment to NATO. And NATO does what, I don't know what the arrangement is that you have with, but I know that they want you to have the equipment. And we're getting the best equipment in the world, but they pay us for the equipment. Under Biden, it was just crazy what was going on. I believe the number is over 300. I think it could be $350 billion worth of equipment and money and everything else. And we've made more progress in settling this war in the last 2 months than they made in 4 years. They should have been.
What progress has been made? What progress have you talked to Putin? Is that the progress? You talked to Putin? You had some drinks with Putin? You sucked Putin off? Is that the progress we made? What progress has been made? The conflict is the same. You could argue it's been worse for Ukraine because there was like several moments where they couldn't get the resources they needed, which gave Russia a huge advantage. You can argue it's been worse for Ukraine. They also lost a lot of leverage because Donald Trump is a Putin shill. I don't know. He's just making shit up.
Settled a long time ago, but it should have never happened. Yeah,
You pushed out on social media.
Brian, go first.
You pushed out on social media about doing away with mail-in ballots and potentially electronic voting machines. Can you expand on that? How important?
Well, that's a very off topic. Just very quickly, mail-in ballots.
That is very off topic.
Mail-in ballots. You can never have a real democracy with mail-in ballots. And
just complete yapping.
we, as a Republican Party, are going to do everything possible that we get rid of mail-in ballots. We're going to start with an executive order that's being written right now by the best lawyers in the country to
Shout out
end
the
mail-in
dictator.
ballots because they're corrupt. And you know that we're the only country in the world, I believe, I may be wrong, but just about the only country in the world that uses it because of what
He just makes shit up and then hopes that he doesn't care if people fact check him. He just says, oh yeah, they don't know what they're talking about. Like he just be making shit up like religiously. He does not care. He just does not
what's
care.
happened. Massive fraud all over the place. The other thing we want change are the machines. For all of the money they spend, it's approximately 10 times more expensive than paper ballots. And paper ballots are very sophisticated with a watermark paper and everything else. We would get secure elections. We'd get much faster results. The machines, I mean, they say we're going to have the results in 2 weeks. With paper ballots, you have the results that night. Most people almost have, but most people, many countries use paper ballots. It's the most secure form. So between paper ballots, very, very set it up. They can get all
Yapping,
you've been
just
watching.
yapping, just yapping, just yapping.
They're very impressed actually. But you have to lead the charge.
Yapping, 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 yapping.
A liberal group that put out the numbers. So I guess it's but 0, 0, and 0. You go back a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 millions of people poured into our country. It was terrible. Thank you very much.
What security guarantees do you need from President Trump to be able to make a deal? Is it American troops, intelligence, equipment? What is it?
Everything. And really, it includes two parts. First, strong Ukrainian army. That's what I began to discuss with your colleagues. And it's a lot about weapon and then people and training missions and intelligence. And second, we will discuss with our partners. It depends on the big countries, on the United States, on a lot of our friends.
And Mr. President, are you willing to commit American troops to that NATO-like protection in order to get President Zelensky to a deal today?
Well, I don't know if you define it that way, but NATO-like, I mean, we have people waiting in another room right now. They're all here from Europe, biggest people in Europe. And they want to give protection. They feel very strongly about it, and we'll help them out with that. I think it's very important. I think it's very important to get the deal done.
You've been involved with the peacekeeping in Ukraine since your first day in the administration. What would you say to the Ukrainian people right now who are suffering under the Russian attacks and hoping that the American people will stand with them?
Well, I know Ukrainian people. I've known many over the years. They're great people. They're smart.
Here's the
they're energetic. They love their country. I mean, they love their country, and we want to get this war ended. That's all I can do. I love the Ukrainian people, but I love all people. I love the Russian people. I love them all.
Fuck off. If I'm Ukraine, I'm like, fuck you. Jesus Christ. All right. That was better than the Putin one because at least this one had more substance. It wasn't just a glaze fest. Zelensky was definitely on top of it. He was ready to glaze Donald Trump way more than last time when Donald Trump's fragile little ego got put in its place. But all right, let's check PolitiFact fact checking platform. In a more cordial affair than their last oval, yeah, definitely more cordial. Here are the top lines, fact check. Mail-in ballots are fraud. For a meeting about war in Ukraine, mail-in ballots in the U.S. got a surprising spotlight following a social media post earlier in the day in which Trump called for getting rid of mail-in ballots. Trump called them fraudulent. Trump has spread corrupt and a fraud and promised to end mail-in ballots. Trump has spread falsehoods about voting by mail for the last decade. Mail-in voting provides more opportunity for fraud than in-person voting, but it's still rare, and election officials have safeguards in place. Around 94% of registered voters live in states that have some version of ballot tracking, reducing the probability of fraud. I mean, we already knew that he doesn't really care about like facts. He just wants to make up stuff about the election. Did Trump end 6 wars? Now, this is the big talking point on whether or not he ended 6 wars that MAGA is now using as their newest talking point. And repeating that he has ended 6 wars since taking office, but this is mostly false talking point, need context. All right, so yeah, I decided to look in the expanded version so we get all the details about this one. And it has coined a new nickname for him, the Peacemaker in Chief. The White House recently touted several deals, have stopped 6 wars. All right, India and Pakistan, U.S. influence is disputed. All right, shout out. I'm doing this video while playing against a guy using the fucking Chiefs. All right, 1 second. Okay, India and Pakistan's leader agreed to a ceasefire May 10th after days of military strikes between 2 nuclear countries. All right, I'm just gonna let it go. My focus is for you guys, not Madden. Between 2 nuclear-armed countries, the conflict centered around the territorial dispute over Kashmir, a region in the northwest part of the Indian subcontinent. India controls the central and southern portions, and Pakistan controls the northern western portion. So the deal was reached after a long night of talks mediated by the U.S.-Pakistan Prime Minister. Thanked Trump for his leadership and proactive role, but Indian leaders disputed that Trump's intervention factored into the ceasefire. Hours after Trump took credit for the agreement, Indian Foreign Secretary announced May 10th that Pakistan's Director General of Military Operations had initiated a call with his Indian counterpart, and both sides agreed to stop all firing and military action. He did not mention the United States. Indian External Affairs rejected third-party mediation. The ceasefire said no foreign leader asked India to halt. So, okay, so India says Donald Trump is just lying. Okay. Israel and Iran ended with U.S. bug. I mean, you already know all the facts regarding this. Israel decided to do what they did. And then they helped bomb this one bunker. One got damaged. The other one is only partially damaged. But might as well read this too. Launch surprise attacks. Israel's goal of eliminating Iran's nuclear capability. U.S. since it required bombing facilities. Israel and Iran agreed to a ceasefire meeting by the U.S. and Qatar. Trump announced the deal on Truth Social. It's difficult to know how much influence Trump had in the talks, but said his decision by Iran likely ended the conflict more quickly. The Israelis would have carried out their own attack targeting the facility if the U.S. had not. Okay. This is how I'm going to characterize this one. So because the United States got involved in helping Israel bomb Iran, and I've already talked about this, the idea of Iran having nukes is something that I'm against. So this is one of those few situations I was like, I'm not mad at it. Now, it was started by Israel and then it was continued by the U.S., but Iran probably realized at that point, it's like, best not to deal with both countries at this point would probably not be ideal. Republic of Congo and Rwanda. The foreign ministers of Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo signed a U.S. brokered peace agreement in Washington, D.C. to end their deadly nearly 30-year conflict, called the movement a glorious triumph for the cause of peace. The agreement also follows U.S. investment in Eastern DRC's critical mineral reserves. The deal is an effort to stop violence in the eastern part of the DRC. Recently caused thousands of deaths and foreign said the significant part of the launch of broken agreements between the countries. So there's been a lot of broken agreements between the two over the past year and a half from the United States. So there's been negotiations for about the past year. So that includes under Joe Biden's administration as well, including all these other countries as well. Among others, have brought the parties back to the negotiating table. Tension between intensified in 2023. The U.S. renewed its effort to broker peace. Mid-2024, the parties agreed to a long-term ceasefire before it collapsed in December 2024. So a ceasefire was put in place before under Joe Biden, but then it collapsed in December 2024. Bruce said long-term peace can only be achieved the U.S. and other mediators provide consistent monitoring and tangible consequences. So this is just another. So is Donald Trump trying to take credit for the one in mid-2024, or is there a new one? Oh, there's a new one here on June 2027. So Joe Biden also did a ceasefire deal. We'll see if this one lasts, is what it seems. But there's not a lot of information on what exactly Donald Trump and his people did. Little evidence, Trump ordered an escalation. Sure, we're on the verge of war. Serbia was. They were featured fact check. Oh, I lost. Well, I lost Madden to do this video for you guys. Serbia was. They were getting to go to war with a group. I won't even mention because it didn't happen. We were able to stop it. But I have a friend in Serbia, and they said we're going to go to war again. And I won't mention that it's Kosovo, but it's Kosovo. But they're going to have a big time war and stopped it. They say he stopped a new conflict between the two countries, backed up Trump's account, but Serbia denied it had war plans. So, and this one is disputed. Kosovo president said Trump recently had prevented a potential escalation from Serbia. Does not engage any soldier. We have not moved any machinery. It does not even occur to us. So, Serbia said it doesn't happen, but he's taking credit because Kosovo said it. So this is another one where a leader is capitulating to Donald Trump. And there's no evidence here. So the only one that you can give maybe a level of ensuring that it doesn't escalate is maybe Israel or Iran. Maybe that one. No solution on the table over Nile. The conflict started over a water dispute. Blah, blah, blah. Trump, who failed to broker a deal during his first term, promised again to work on a solution. That talks over the blah, blah, blah. After 12 years in negotiations, Trump decided to weigh in a few weeks later. Egypt want to have water in the Nile, but we're working on that one. It was a problem. Source of income. Bruce against Ethiopia for not adhering to his self-styled mediation efforts between Ethiopia and Egypt. Okay, the Egyptians got the better of him to take a stand that he should sign a blinding treaty with Egypt and Sudan regarding the GERD. That's such a deal. So no deal was made between Egypt and Ethiopia. Cambodia and Thailand to ceasefire after a territorial dispute, killing dozens of people. Did I know about this one? I think I did. He was speaking with both countries' leaders. The same day the ceasefire announced, said he instructed his team to restart the training. Both countries agreed not to deploy more troops. How long do you hold? We're scheduled to meet, discuss how to maintain the ceasefire. So this one, not really. They didn't mention the Armenian one. I guess that'll be the 7th one. So basically, he deserves some credit, but the idea that he stopped 6 wars is just like exaggeration, basically. Only one war left. Russia, Ukraine, but obviously Israel, Gaza is happening. 350 billion for Ukraine doesn't add up. Said he thought the U.S. had over 300 billion. This is misleading. Told 184 billion, so basically half of what he said. Trump's district dining anecdote said that his district went from the most unsafe place to anywhere to a place where people going out to diner. This is misleading. The district experienced a sharp rise in crime during the COVID-19 pandemic, but crime rates have continued to so talk about Washington, D.C. here. Crime rates in Washington, D.C. When it comes to dining out, reservation data for the district shows a decline in diners since Trump summoned the National Guard and took over the police force. So even that's not true. Okay. Now there's one more source I found. Oh. I think it talked about some of the conflict as well. So this is another source that did their own fact check for what was happening. Here we go. Pulling it up. Up. I've been hearing that one song from that one but what is it called? That one K-pop movie. That song is catchy. They're trying to be in the next Frozen. Israel launch attacks in the heart, blah, blah, blah. Trump negotiates ceasefire. The U.S. was instrumental in securing. So Trump probably could take the Trump administration, because they escalated it, that probably ended it before it got serious. Trump had nothing to do with this one. This basically confirms it. The April killing of tourists. Trump has claimed the U.S. brokered the ceasefire, which he said came about because he offered trade concessions. Pakistan thinks not, what you're in, blah, blah, blah. But India has denied. So India said he didn't do anything. Pakistan is glazing Donald Trump. So I'm going to say no. So 1 for 3. List the conflict between these countries. Trump resolved, blah, blah, blah. Is a former Serbian province. So this one's another one. So 1 for 4. Played a key role in peace efforts between African neighbors, but it's hardly alone, and the conflict is far from over. So we went over this one for the Rwanda one. The fact that Donald Trump is trying to take over this. Joe Biden had a bunch of ceasefire deals with him as well. And also, he said in the whole thing that he doesn't do ceasefire, and this was literally a ceasefire, but so he's fucking yapping. So he's not taking full credit for this. A bunch of other countries and Joe Biden also tried to get deals made. So 1 for 5. Trump this month hosted the leaders of. Now, from what I've read initially, he might be able to get credit for this one. Signed a deal ending a decades-long conflict. Armenian Prime Minister. Is this why Cenk and Anna Kasparian is just like becoming Donald Trump shills recently? Is it because he helped end the conflict? I mean, if it's something more personal, you can only I can't be upset if something personal to your family is the reason why you support someone. I mean, obviously, your credibility as a analyst is completely shot, but personally, I can't blame you. Call this signed document a significant milestone. Hail Trump for performing a miracle. So both leaders are just glazing the fuck out of Trump. Blah blah. So basically, you can give them like 2 for 5. And Cambodia and Thailand, officials from Thailand and Cambodia credit Trump with pushing the Asian neighbors to agree to a ceasefire. Clash and blah 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 blah. Additional ceasefire during Malaysia. President Trump's decision to condition a successful conclusion of these thoughts to a ceasefire likely played a significant role in ensuring the both. So you might be able to. So 3. So you can probably give him credit for 3. The Cambodia, Thailand, and Armenia and Azerbaijan is probably the 2 ones you can go like, yeah, his administration deserves credit for these. Everything else, no. And then the Iran-Israel one is Donald Trump basically just joining Israel in the attacks. So that one was like, if Israel did it, Iran probably would have retaliated harder, but because the United States did it, and they decided not to. So that one's a little weird, but 2 to 3. 2 to 3. 6, definitely not. 2 to 3. Does it deserve credit? We'll see how the Israel-Palestine one works. We'll see how the Ukraine-Russia one works. I am more studied on those 2 conflicts in particular, so I can know for certain whether or not this is a bad deal or not. The other ones, I can't really ascertain whether or not these were bad deals for bad people. So I'll just go off of the surface level assumption. But that's all I got for today. Hope you guys enjoy it. I know MAGA didn't enjoy this video at all. I know they fucking hated me slandering their second coming of Jesus Christ. So with that said, you guys have a good one. Like, subscribe. Take care.